Hello BookTube! Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth and I can't believe that 5 weeks have already passed since my last video where I announced that I was going to be on a hiatus for 5 weeks. And I have not gotten nearly the amount of stuff done that I wanted to get done in this 5-week period. But I said I wanted to come back for Booktubeathon, and wild horses couldn't keep me away from Booktubeathon. It may be the day before it starts right now, but I'm telling you, I started planning my TBR the day that Ariel announced the challenges. I am so excited about Booktubeathon. But because my 5 weeks just flew by so quickly, I think that I'm going to try to limit this week to just Booktubeathon videos, and then I'm going to continue my channel break, my hiatus, for another 2 or 3 weeks before I come back full swing. And at that point I will tell you about everything I've been reading this summer and about my library challenge that I've been doing, and talk about what I'm going to do for my giveaway that I announced at the beginning of my hiatus. So there's a lot coming up, and I'm going to have a new background coming up soon. I just haven't got it hung yet. It's not going to be in here. It's going to be in my living room, and I can almost guarantee you it is unlike anything you've ever seen before. It's amazing, and I cannot wait to unveil it. So all of that will be coming up later, but for this week I'm planning to do all of the Booktubeathon reading challenges, and depending on the video challenges, I will probably try to do those. I also got myself on Instagram for the Dewey's 24-hour readathon the last time that came around, and so I feel confident that I can participate in the Instagram challenges too, and I may even do some Twitter sprints. So I am super excited about Booktubeathon, and I'm going to take a little break from some of the household projects that I've been working on and just enjoy Booktubeathon. One of the things I wanted to get done before I came back to you after this 5 weeks was get a haircut. I mean, seriously, I don't like my hair this long, but I almost have enough now to donate, and it's never been color treated, and my daughter Emily almost has enough to donate. So as soon as I can get her portraits done for this year, then I think we're going to both go and have a fun time of donating our hair, and then we'll both be able to cool off a little bit. Hopefully I'll have that done before I come back in late August. But now I have been having a really good reading summer. Not so much in June. I did Giant Book June again. That was just a reading challenge I gave myself to read books that were only 400 pages or more. I finished 5 audiobooks, but I did not finish any of my print books. It took me the whole first week of July to finish 5 of the 6 print books that I had started in June, and then there was one that I put on hold for the time being. So that has bumped up my July total. So if you add those 5 to the 13 books that I've already completely read in July, plus the one audiobook that I have about an hour left on that I'll finish today, that's 19 books. So I have my 7 Booktubeathon books, and then one more ebook that I'm currently reading. So I'm going to throw a couple more kids books in the mix, and I'm just going to go for 30 books for the month of July, and I think I can do it. So I don't want to ramble on too much, although it's tempting because I haven't seen you in so long, but I want to get on with my Booktubeathon TBR. My TBR really reads like a genreathon TBR because all of the books are from different genres. I've got a literary fiction, a nonfiction, a classic, a cozy mystery, a graphic novel, a middle grade adventure survival story. I've got a middle grade fantasy that I'm probably not going to get to until the 31st, but I also got a YA romance, and then I'm in the middle of an adult romance that's not really for one of my challenges. I'm just in the middle of reading it, and I'll probably finish that up this week as well. So lots of different genres, a big variety in what I'm reading, and it might appear like I've picked some really random stuff, but each of these books is doing double duty. I'm doing another challenge right now that is from my local library. You may recall that last year I did a book bingo and I won a Kindle from my local library. Well, this year they're doing something called Around the Shelves in 80 Days, and most of the challenges are travel related. There are challenges for different types of travel, different modes of travel, and challenges that are based on different locations around the world, things like that. So I picked books that will all fit into those challenges. And by the time I get done with Booktubeathon, I think I'll only have 2 books left that I'll need to finish the entire challenge. And it goes until the end of August. So I'm really, really excited that I am accomplishing that goal, and probably do a whole video about it, and I'll tell you what the grand prize is for this year. It's not a Kindle, so even if I win, I won't end up with 2 Kindles. It's a whole different prize, which is really cool. So again, that's going to be in a future video. So let me just tell you what I'm going to read for BookTubeathon, and for the time being, you'll just have to wonder what challenge it's going to meet for Around the Shelves in 80 Days. Okay, so of course I have to give credit to Ariel Bissett for creating BookTubeathon and hosting it. She does have some other assistant hosts that do the video challenges and the Twitter sprints and all that kind of stuff, but she is the main host and creator for BookTubeathon, and of course I will link the BookTubeathon channel down below, as well as her channel. It's a week-long readathon from the 24th through the 30th. There's 7 challenges. The very last challenge is to read 7 books. I am planning to read 8 or 9. So let me tell you what the other 6 challenges are. The first one is to read a book with a person on the cover. Well, 2 of mine have a person on the cover, but the one I'm counting for that is actually a middle grade book called Julie. This is the second book in the Julie of the Wolves series, which is a Newbery winner by Jean Craighead George. I read Julie several years ago, and I think I remember enough about it to go ahead and read this sequel. And this may seem like a random pick for BookTubeathon, but it meets one of the challenges for my library challenge, so that's why I chose this one. Most of the books I did choose are 200 pages or less. I've got only 2, I think, that are longer than that. So I have very ambitious hopes that that I will finish all of my books. What I recall about Julie of the Wolves, it is about a young Eskimo girl who was going to be forced into an arranged marriage with an abusive person, and so she felt like her only other choice was to run away and live on the icy tundra and survive on her own. And I don't know if she befriended some wolves or if she just learned how to coexist with them. That part of the story I actually can't remember, so I may have to go back and read a little bit of the original book. But I remember it being a very good survival story. When I was planning my TBR, I was looking basically at all of the books that I needed to read for the library challenge and making all of those fit into the BookTubeathon challenges. And I think the one I had the most trouble with was choose a hyped book. Now, I love that she said hyped book and not overhyped, because as I got to looking at it, I think 2 of the books on my TBR could probably count as hyped books, but probably not overhyped. So I'm really glad that she didn't use the term overhyped. But of the 2 books on my TBR that I would consider hyped, this is the one I'm choosing. It's The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. I've only ever read one other Liane Moriarty book. I've read What Alice Forgot for book club, and I liked it okay. It wasn't my favorite book of the year or anything, but my husband actually just listened to this on Hoopla Audio. This is a little long for a week-long readathon, but since most of my other books are all very short and I have this on audio, I'm just going to chink away at it all week and just listen to it throughout the week. And I was questioning whether this was hyped enough. I looked on Goodreads, and it has over 346,000 ratings and over 27,000 reviews. So I think that's probably hyped enough. And I believe that there is a movie in the works. So this is my pick for that challenge. One other book that is on my TBR, this is technically my 7th book, but this could probably count as a hyped book as well, although it only had 126,000 ratings and a little over 17,000 reviews. So this one is not as hyped, I guess, as The Husband's Secret. Plus, as far as I know, there's no movie planned for this. But like I said, this is going to be my 7th book, so I'm kind of going out of order here. But it's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I've been interested in reading this for quite a while. A friend of mine gave me this copy not too long ago, and I also have access to the audio on Hoopla. So I will be listening to this, and I will possibly be listening to this one outside. I've got a couple of books that are pretty short that I've got on audio, and I will potentially be listening to this outside. I'll either go for walks, I need to pull some weeds. We're trying to get our house ready to go on the market in a little while, and of course there's going to be a lot of weeds to pull and rocks to move and things like that. So I don't see why I can't get out in the early morning or evening when it's cooler and listen to an audiobook while I do some yard work. It's funny to me how many people are really balking at the read a book outside, because it's not like Ariel said, you have to read this book outside and it has to be 12 noon in the bright sun. No, she didn't say that. I mean, there are so many other ways to accomplish this. I mean, really, I heard somebody talk about that they considered being in their car outside, and I don't see why not. You know, listen to an audiobook in your car on your way to and from work. You know, I think that's legit. And you could go to a park, sit in a pavilion. You could sit on your screened porch with a fan. You know, there are plenty of opportunities for reading outside. And, you know, whatever happened to that summer beach read, you know, everybody's always talking about? You know, I don't know how many booktubers I've heard say, oh yeah, this is going to be a great summer beach read, or this is what I'm going to read while I'm laying out at the pool. But then the minute you have a challenge to actually read something outside, half the people are going, what? I can't read outside? It's so, and I know that some people do have legitimate health concerns and health issues. So, of course, you know, you have to work around what you physically can do. But I think the best way to accomplish this challenge for me is with audiobooks. And just to get outside, walk around, you know, sit in the shade. You know, don't sit in the bright sun, sit in the shade. Or at night. You know, most of us have phones or Kindles that are backlit, and you could sit out on your porch at night or in the evening and read an ebook. So I do have one print book that I'm planning to read completely outside. I hope to accomplish at least 2 books outside. I do have a graphic novel. It doesn't have a lot of text, so this will not be difficult to I will probably read this outside, and I'll read this in one day. This is At the Mountains of Madness, the graphic novel. The original novel is by H.P. Lovecraft, and this adaptation is written and drawn by I.N.J. Culbard. And I listened to the audiobook of the original text of At the Mountains of Madness in early in July, and I really didn't enjoy it. So why am I reading this graphic novel? Well, it was for my library challenge. So I've really actually already met this library challenge. But when I searched for it at my library, I could only find it on audio on Hoopla, and they had this graphic novel version. So I decided that I would just go ahead and hang on to this and save it for Booktubeathon. I'm hoping that I will get a little bit more out of the story by actually seeing the artwork and reading the text. It was billed as a classic thriller. It's about an expedition to Antarctica, and I don't know if it was partly the fault of the narrator or if it was the fault of the author, but I had a hard time really understanding when I was supposed to be thrilled or excited, because the parts that were being described that were kind of gory and crazy were just discussed right in the middle of all the descriptions of the scenery and everything, and it was just all kind of muddled up together. I had a hard time knowing when I was supposed to be scared or upset or anything. It was difficult. So I'm hoping maybe that by putting some pictures to the text, I will get a little bit more from the story. So one other book that I will probably complete in a day, and I may read this completely outdoors, I don't know, I'm going to read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. This is also available on audio on Hoopla. I've got the print copy here, and it's only about 100 pages. I have 2 or 3 of these little classics by H.G. Wells that have been on my shelf for a little while, and I had said earlier this year that I wanted to read one. So I have picked The Time Machine because it fits with one of my library challenges, and there you go. So the next challenge is to read a book about a person who is different from you, and I just went ahead and decided to pick up a book from a series that I've been actively reading, because this is, of course, again, meeting one of the challenges for the library challenge. I had to read 2 different books that are set in Africa, and because I am reading the #1 Ladies Detective Agency, I have already started and I'm almost finished with The Miracle at Speedy Motors. I have about an hour left of it on audio, so you can see that. I should finish that up today, and so then I already have the next one, which is Tea Time for the Traditionally Built. This is about Precious Ramotswe and her assistant Ma Makutsi, and they are women detectives in Botswana, Africa, and I am not a woman detective from Botswana, Africa, so I am counting this book for that challenge. And I'm going to be listening to it on Audio Playaway from the library. This is what it looks like. If you've not seen these before, these are little MP3 players that you hook up your earbuds to, and it takes a AAA battery. You can pop it in your pocket. You can listen to this while your phone is charging. I love to have audiobooks on different kinds of media. I usually have an audiobook on CD, and then I have one going on my phone, and then if I can find one on Playaway, that way if I'm either out of batteries on this, or I'm charging my phone, or I'm in my car, I have something I can listen to. I don't like to run out of audiobooks. In fact, I was planning on just listening to both of these books for Booktubeathon, but I ran out of audiobooks a couple of days ago, and I decided just to go ahead and listen to this. The next one I have ready to go from the library on Playaway as well. So I've already talked about what I'm reading completely outdoors, and so the last book that I need to show you is the book I bought completely because of the cover. Now I am stretching this a little bit because this is one of the books that I needed to read for my library challenge, of course. But thinking back, I did buy this because of the cover. I don't know anything about it, but it's called Caribbean Cruising by Rachel Hawthorne. I'd never heard of this author, and I got it because it's got a cruise ship on the front, and it is apparently about a cruise to the Caribbean. I used to work on a cruise ship that went to the Bahamas, and I thought it would be really fun to read a book about cruising. So apparently this is a YA romance, and I thought it would be fun to read it. It is probably my second longest book that I have for Booktubeathon, and I don't have access to audio. There is an ebook version on Hoopla, and I've only got one borrow left on Hoopla, so I may not use that for this since I've got it here in paperback. I may hang on to that in case at the last minute I need another audiobook from Hoopla. But anyway, I am looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So those are the books that meet the challenge. But I mentioned that I have one other book on my currently reading on Goodreads going into Booktubeathon that I will be finishing this week, or at least before the end of the month. There's only going to be one more day in July after Booktubeathon's over. So sometime between now and the end of July, I do plan to finish it. And I'll show you the Kindle version cover. It's called Nothing But Blue Skies, and it's by Christy Ridgway. Now, this is a book I'm reading for a new book club that was started recently by Sarah from Novel Expectations. She reads mostly romance, and I thought, you know what, I haven't read a good romance in a long time. I'm just going to join her group and see what this book is about. It was free on Kindle, and so I downloaded it. But in looking it up on Goodreads and at the library, I discovered that this title, Nothing But Blue Skies, is actually a new title for an older book by Christy Ridgway that's called Wish You Were Here. So I looked it up in my library, and the physical copy that they had is this older version. And I always like to, look at a book, even if I'm reading something on ebook or audio, I like to get the physical book, look at it, flip through it. If I want to refer back to something, then here it is. So I did pick it up from the library. So if you're familiar with the title Wish You Were Here, it's the same book as Nothing But Blue Skies. It is about an astronaut who has been sidelined because of a motorcycle accident, and he goes to an island, kind of a remote island, to recuperate. So that is what this is about. I'm about 20% into it, and as it turns out, I think it's going to meet one of the challenges on my library challenge that I was having a hard time with. So I'm really excited about that. I had just kind of impulsively decided to abandon my TBR this weekend and read that instead, and it turns out it's to my benefit. So I'm going to be finishing this up during Booktubeathon as well. And then because I had run out of audiobooks a couple of days ago, I picked up a couple of short audiobooks that are on my TBR for this year. It's a series that I've been wanting to finish. It's the Neverland books by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. There's 3 of these books, and I couldn't remember which of the 2 I had already read, and I was at my library on Saturday, and I just went ahead and picked up the 2 they had. Another library in our county has the other one. So I'm just going to go ahead and listen to all 3 of them. They are only about 2 hours each. So I started this one in the car yesterday, and I finished it up after church on the way home, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the ones I had already finished. This is Escape from the Carnival. They are narrated by Jim Dale, who also narrated the Peter and the Starcatcher series. These are companion books that are set in the same world, but they don't have Peter Pan in them. These books are set in Neverland while Peter is off on other adventures with the Darlings and the Astors. These are just fun little fantasy adventure books for like a 4th to 6th grade level, I think is kind of the age level they're geared towards. So because they're so short, I will probably go ahead and listen to this one in the car. This is called Blood Tide. This is book 3, and this may be the one I haven't listened to yet. The other one is called something about the dark wind, and I've ordered it, and it will come during the week, and I'll probably just go ahead and finish all 3 of them before the end of the month. Even if I don't even tackle this before Booktubeathon, I've still got that extra day at the end of the month, and I'm going to be going to a book sale that's about an hour away, so I'll probably listen to this one on July 31st. And because if I get all of that done, that's 29 books for the month, I may as well round it out and read a children's book to finish up the month. I checked this out from the library over a month ago. This is The Story About Peeing by Marjorie Flack and Kurt Weiss. I got this because one of my subscribers, her channel name is Two Boys Scrapped, but she doesn't do videos. She's one of the 2 ladies who really just went over and above and beyond my giveaway challenge for my hiatus, and I think they watched and commented on just about every one of my videos over the past 5 weeks. So I've really gotten to know them, and she was telling me early on that this was the book that she first remembered reading as a child. And so I looked, and our library had it, so I ordered it. I think I may read this with my daughter Emily. She's my oldest, but she's the one that has autism and enjoys children's books. So that'll make 30 books for the month, and that will wrap up my Booktubeathon. It'll wrap up my July, and I'm excited. So here are the print copies of my 7 Booktubeathon books that meet my 7 challenges, and 4 of these I have available on audio. Whether I actually listen to the whole thing on audio or read some, I don't know. We'll just kind of see how the week goes. These are the main 7 books that I'm reading for Booktubeathon. Then I'm planning to finish this one, and then the other 2 Neverland books, and then my children's book. So this is what I hope to finish by the end of the month. I've been having a blast watching all of your TBR videos. I know I won't get to watch everybody's because there's several thousand, but I'm definitely trying to watch everybody's video who I subscribe to, and then some. And it's just been a lot of fun to see what everybody's reading. So I hope to talk to you in the comments, and I hope to see you for some video challenges, and I plan to do as many of those as I can, and then I will come back with a wrap up on, hopefully on July 31st, before I go back into hiatus. And that's all for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.